What's up, everybody? What's up? Good afternoon. Welcome. How you guys doing? So I wanted to talk a bit about Nancy Guthrie and all the updates, all the stuff that's going on, this massive search for this mother missing out of Arizona, Tucson. It's incredible. That today is day 6 and they upped the reward from 2,500 to 50,000, which even 50,000, some people are still being critical of, kind of like, but to me, it makes sense if they're, the ransom thing, what reward's not going to do anything, maybe. I mean, unless it gets somebody to snitch, but I was surprised when they initially started with 2,500. That was crazy. 2,500. Might as well offer $100. And the arrest yesterday of this guy was pretty crazy too. Derek. Oh man. Derek yesterday sending out a fake hoax ransom. Where's the picture of this guy? I know I saved this guy. Oh, it's on Facebook. This dude looks peculiar. An eccentric looking mother effer. Oh, what's up with this dude? Eccentric looking. Where's here we go. Wow. That happened yesterday too. And apparently he was caught in previous fraud. Stealing or something from the government, I believe. What they said here. Posted the screenshot here somewhere. Reply to somebody. COVID, some type of arrested on unemployment COVID scam. This dude was arrested yesterday. Sheesh. And I mean, so some of the highlights before we get into today's all the stuff. So the first ransom deadline has passed. Okay, first ransom deadline has passed. Apparently there's 2 deadlines, which some experts are calling that kind of weird. Deadline passed without any follow-up communication. That's the big thing. Cool earring, right? Without any follow-up communication. It was emailed to news outlets KOLD TV and TMZ, demanded millions in Bitcoin, and they set 2 deadlines, one for 5 p.m. yesterday, which that passed now. And then the second deadline is Monday. Is it Monday? February 9th, 5 p.m. Yeah, Monday. So, and there's been no contact with these people. They're still analyzing the legitimacy of this ransom. There's no proof of life provided. We'll talk about the 25-minute gap, an interesting, sinister, possible theory that an NBC reporter Tom Winter came up with, why there's a 25-minute gap from when the camera in front of the house, the doorbell camera, is taken off to then there's motion inside the house. Why is there a 25-minute gap there? What's going on there? Were they waiting for police to show up? Were they waiting to see if she woke up? Was that person kind of testing the grounds, to see what was going on? And then they confirmed the blood in front of the house at the doorstep. That's Nancy's blood. All right. And last night, Nancy's son, Cameron Guthrie, came out with a video. And I'll play it because it's short. I'm sure most of you saw it. It was like...
This is Cameron Guthrie. I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
Very short message, and this is from Nancy's son. And Brian Enton yesterday had said something to that I thought was interesting, because these messages that are being put out from the family, I think maybe this is the FBI telling them to do that, to see if we can get a response from these people. Because yesterday, Brian Enton had said that the sheriff, he didn't know that Savannah was going to put out that video. And he didn't know until his wife showed him. And so Brian Enton said it seems like the FBI is in control now. So that is some interesting stuff there too. You know, whether it's still legit or not. It seems like it's legit, but then there's no point of contact. I'm thinking the no point of contact is because they don't want to get caught. But at the same time, how do you even know the mother's still alive? How do you even know that they really have the mother? I mean, the timing. And then yesterday, too, they revisited the house, searched the woods behind the home, and continued canvassing. Today is day 6. You know, still searching. How did I do this here? Try that. Still searching. No new ransom contact. Harvey Levin, though, had some really interesting things to say about the ransom. We're going to talk about that. And the family continues to appeal to the public. And so let's start, I guess. And I thought this article from CNN actually had some good clips on here. Let me just refresh this. $50,000 reward, son's appeal, drone footage, and all this stuff right here too. Lack of contact between captors and family is unusual, retired FBI agent says. I feel like I don't even know when was the last time there was a ransom, like a serious ass ransom like this. I can't even think of it. I'm gonna have to look that up. I can't think of a time. Let's see.
Joining me now is retired FBI Supervisory Special Agent James A. Gagliano. Thank you so much for being here. Look, what is your take on the information that is out there now about these ransom notes? One in particular, the far apart deadlines in one of them, the Apple Watch detail, the one-way communication as well.
Yeah. Sarah, this is just a baffling and unusual case. Look, kidnappings happen for one of two reasons. They're either for profit or they're for revenge. And in this instance, law enforcement has not come out yet and messaged directly to suggest this was a targeted kidnapping. FBI's been doing this a long time, going back to the Lindbergh baby kidnapping in 1932. Frank Sinatra Jr. was a celebrity that was kidnapped.
I didn't know Frank Sinatra Jr. was kidnapped. The Lingbaugh baby we talked about the other day.
In 63, Patricia Hearst in the 70s. This case, to your point, does not check those boxes.
Hearst.
Really quickly, why? Well,
I think all of those had open communication with the kidnappers.
One of the things here is the fact that they had multiple deadlines and the fact that the kidnappers, the people who abducted Mrs. Guthrie, didn't want to deal back channel with the family only. They went public. And that part of it is the most beguiling part, because the Guthrie family has been reaching out and beseeching them to maintain contact. That's what makes this such an unusual case, Sarah.
Yeah, you talk about the Guthrie family, and for a second time, they reached out. This time, first it was Savannah and her sister, and now Savannah's brother has reached out and asked, pleaded with whoever took their mother to make contact. And so far, as you said, that has not happened. You've been involved in hostage negotiations. How difficult is this one from the details that we now have so far? Because it is now, we are going into the 6th day, and I know, and you have said this many times, that time is of the essence.
This is a tough case for a number of reasons. First of all, there's about a 14-hour window there from the time Mrs. Guthrie got home until the notification from church and the family alerted authorities at 12 noon the next day. You've got a crime scene that's about 3,100 square feet. It's in a cozy neighborhood about 60 miles north of the Mexico border. I worked south of the border for a number of years and worked many different kind of abductions and kidnappings. This one doesn't make sense the way the kidnappers are working. And you also pointed out the multiple deadlines. Typically in an abduction, the kidnappers are going to give a deadline. If the authorities or the family doesn't meet said deadline, some negative consequence happens. That does not appear to be the case, at least publicly here. It is head-scratchingly odd the way that this is all being conducted from the kidnapper's perspective.
Is there, I mean, look, there's more than one ransom note that has been sent out to media organizations. And we heard from Harvey Levin, because one was sent to TMZ, which he runs, that there were some details in it. And one of them was that Nancy Guthrie is aware of what is going on, and that she is scared. Of all the things that we've heard so far, do any of these notes, sort of the details that we're getting from them, the scant details, give you, I don't know, information that they're legitimate?
Yeah. I'm not entirely certain of that, and I certainly don't have any inside investigation, information in regarding to this case. But the fact that the abductors mentioned a floodlight, they mentioned something inside the house that could have been common knowledge. This looks targeted. You can't guarantee it. Obviously, you got to wait. You got to follow the evidence, bereft of fear or favor. But at this juncture right now, the way that the kidnappers are, one, they're using modernity here because they're using Bitcoin or cryptocurrency for the ransom money. Two, the fact that they're dealing publicly as opposed to dealing privately with the family. And three, the fact that the family gave those two impassioned appeals, one by Savannah the other night and last night by the brother. This tells you a lot. You have to, as an investigator, listen with your third ear. The FBI, law enforcement, cannot compel any family to do something or not do something in this case. They're in an advisory capacity. And just from the language that was being used by Savannah and her brother, very precise language indicating they have not received any other reach outs and they're basically in the dark right now. So that's what makes this such a tough case from the motivation perspective. Was it revenge or was it for profit? And I think investigators have reached a dead end, and that's why the sheriff of Pima County is basically saying they're going to start putting up literal physical billboards to try to crowdsource this and get more people to come forward with information.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many questions. In the meantime, the family is devastated and heartbroken and scared and worried. And certainly Miss Guthrie would be in the same position. James A. Gagliano, it is such a pleasure to have you here as someone who is very familiar with trying to negotiate.
So there's something really interesting too. Thank you for the person that pointed this out in the chat. I meant to talk about this. This came out yesterday, and this is just, I think, is so interesting because this happened reportedly the same day Nancy was taken. This is odd, yo. This is odd. So teens charged. Have you guys heard about this? Teens charged in $66 million crypto home invasion plot in Scottsdale as search for Nancy continues. So this happened, I believe. Our family was seen in Tucson, about 2 hours away. The crypto related home invasion. There was these two teenagers that were arrested on this $1 million cryptocurrency plot the same day that Nancy was last seen. They haven't said this is related. Authorities have not said these two cases are connected in any way, but cases do share some bizarre similarities. The teens who are not being identified because they're both under 18 allegedly posed as delivery drivers. I thought I read Amazon. To gain access to the Scottsdale home on January 31st by forcing their way inside and duct taping and assaulting two homeowners. Wow. The teenagers had met recently and were extorted by individuals known only as Red and 8. Court documents state. Like, how weird is that shit? They were allegedly sent from California with $1,000 to purchase supplies and disguised as restraints and burglary tools. I mean, I wonder, they could be telling the truth. I wonder if this was as a distraction, sent as a distraction for the real kidnapping. During the home invasion, one of the victims denied having cryptocurrency. Authorities said an adult son in the home was able to call police from another room. When officers arrived, the teenagers fled but were caught later. One of the teen's mothers contacted law enforcement authorities in California to report text messages on his phone discussing him dressing up in a delivery uniform and committing burglary. The messages contained a home address in Scottsdale. Wow. Both teens face several felony charges, including burglary, assaulted or aggravated assault, and kidnapping. They were reportedly in possession of a 3D printed gun. Wow. The police said it contained no ammunition. Where did they get the gun from? Did those people give it to them? All kinds of weirdos coming out with this case. I wonder if they were sent as a distraction, if there was really somebody called Red and 8. Odd story. All right, we're gonna get into some of this. There's an interview, but let me see. Do they have it here? There's an interview with Harvey. Here it is. This might have. Let's see. I've seen a shorter version. I want to play the longer version.
And I want to go as promised now to Harvey Levin, the founder of TMZ, which, as I mentioned, received a ransom note for Nancy Guthrie. And Harvey, look, I'm really grateful to be talking to you. And you know, you heard officials there say that there was that 5 p.m. deadline, which of course would be about 7 minutes ago. So we're past that. You know, I mean, without revealing anything that could jeopardize the situation, since you have seen the ransom note here, what are you able to say about the deadlines that he referred to in the letter?
That's fine.
So I need to be careful just because, you know, if the FBI is saying they don't want to reveal more, I shouldn't. I will say this, that there was this deadline at 5 o'clock today, and I'm trying to pick my words carefully here. There is a change in what the, if this really is a kidnapper, what that kidnapper may want. The Monday deadline is far more consequential.
What does that mean?
All right, and I'll let people read into that what they will, but I think with that says it all. Look, Harvey, you get tips on everything. Okay, you're TMZ, so you have tips coming in all the time. So when this one came in, and as you look at it now, was there anything about how it came in or anything about it, this letter, this ransom letter, that was unusual to you?
It felt like somebody means business. I mean, when you read it, it's very detailed. This person thought through, I believe, again, if it's legit, this person thought through the markers of showing that it's real. The Bitcoin address, we checked immediately, and it's a real address. The FBI mentioned at the news conference today something that we had seen, where they mentioned the Apple Watch and the floodlight. That was what really put my antenna up, and we immediately called the sheriff because that's what we could say to him, which is, you know, here are these two items they're mentioning. Does this make you interested in it? I will say this, that they do mention an Apple Watch, as the FBI said, and they do mention the floodlight, the damaged floodlight. There is something else, and it is the placement of the Apple Watch, which has not come out. And if that placement is accurate, I'm sure that is something that puts this letter on the FBI's radar.
Oh, okay. So you're saying not just that there was an Apple Watch, which I am aware, you know, was in that letter before any reporting, when you got the letter, before any reporting on the Apple Watch came out, right? So it wasn't as if they saw the reporting and put it in there. But you're saying it talked about a specific location. So if that turns out to be accurate, obviously, that says a lot. Right. Harvey, as you and I are sitting here,
and that's, look, we called the sheriff immediately and gave them the letter. And then a couple hours later, we got a call from the FBI, and they had a lot of questions about this. And I think that placement of the Apple Watch, if this is true, is something where they would immediately take this seriously.
All right, Harvey, I don't know if you got a alert or anything on this, but I haven't seen it, and you haven't seen it. I don't believe. Just was posted on Instagram by Savannah, another video with her and her brother, I understand. So let's just both watch it here for the first time. Just her. Let me play it.
So a really interesting stuff. I have some other clips for Harvey too that I know I saved it somewhere. We'll get into it. First deadline passed, second deadline coming. It seems like obviously with the family, they're trying to get in communication with the supposed would-be kidnappers, and they didn't leave any way to communicate. You know, and the other thing too, I'm wondering with the Bitcoin address, how hard is it to track the source of that, where it came from? Here we go. This is perfect. This is what I was looking for. Could a potential Bitcoin ransom be traced? Experts advise. I don't know if this video has it here. Okay, let's see.
Person to talk about this. Let's talk about the letter that apparently was asking for millions in Bitcoin. Many people think that means it's automatically untraceable. Is Bitcoin truly untraceable?
Well, Bitcoin is cryptocurrency, and cryptocurrency is part of an open public ledger. So you can actually see where that Bitcoin address is, that wallet, and any transactions that go in and out. And that gives the FBI in particular a very excellent avenue to start learning who owns the wallet. Because at some point, when you take money in cryptocurrency, you have to turn it into cash, otherwise it's worthless. And that means you have to go to some sort of exchange or peer-to-peer network or turn that cryptocurrency into a stable coin, a coin that can be tracked by law enforcement. So at that point, there's an ability for law enforcement to determine who owns the particular wallet that is holding that Bitcoin.
How about for the email? Because it was provided, no contact information, but it was emailed to those media outlets. Could that provide some sort of lead in figuring out who sent it? How do you track that back?
Yeah, certainly, Laura, because email has metadata. Email has to have an origin, an account has to be created, and then it has to move through servers. So for a normal person, it's difficult to hide where the email is moving through the internet, right? It's going to touch servers, and those are points of access for the FBI. You would have to be incredibly sophisticated to know how to use dark web and the Tor network, and that's a level of sophistication that may be beyond just a basic kidnapper. And even if you have that sophistication, you have to do every communication right. You can never make a single mistake. Otherwise, law enforcement can key in on you.
There's no communication yet other than the ransom letter we're aware of. I wonder, in terms of trying to track in the way you've described, would it behoove the family to provide some small amount of money that essentially has a tracking device of sorts on it at that point to figure out where it would go in the conversion scheme?
Well, what they could do is put some money into the Bitcoin, in Bitcoin into the wallet, right? Into the cryptocurrency wallet. But if the kidnappers, and we're assuming that there are kidnappers and that this is a legitimate ransom note, are savvy, they're going to let it sit. And they can just let it sit until they either get more of the money or they decide to communicate.
How long is that process to try to track?
Well, it depends. What they're going to do is they're going to try to track it as soon as it lands and then moves. And the trick is they're going to watch it and see where it moves, either into a criminal network that they understand and they can try and seize, or into a legitimate banking network. Because at some point, the criminals are going to try to actually turn that cryptocurrency into cash that they can spend.
Damn. Cryptocurrency. Bitcoin transactions are on the public blockchain. Like they said, every transfer is visible forever, including addresses, receiving funds, amounts, and subsequent movements. It's highly traceable. Why it's not easy to fully track / identify the person. No direct identity link. Bitcoin address doesn't include a name, phone, or IP. It's alphanumeric. Common evasion tactics. Why criminals love Bitcoin for ransom. Mixers / tumbler services that blend funds and obscure origins. Multiple hops through intermediary wallets. Conversion to privacy coins. I didn't even know they had that. Or cash via peer-to-peer or offer offshore exchanges. No cash out yet. No payment has been made. Email origin harder than BTC. Okay. The note was emailed anonymously, possibly via privacy tools like Proton Mail or Tor, and often called the email impossible to trace so far. Metadata/IPs can be masked. Yeah, you can jump on the dark web and use whatever kind of anonymous email service on there if you wanted to, and email somebody under whatever name, I guess. Let's see if this works.
During the time of my various roles in the LAPD, the FBI, and the NYPD, I worked on a number of different kidnapping cases in different roles. One thing we learned is elderly victims typically, statistically, are kidnapped by somebody that they knew or worked for them or had a connection with them, and the motive is almost always money. But in this case, there are no suspects. So in a gut-wrenching video,
we want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen.
Savannah Guthrie and her family had to reach out to whoever sent that ransom note.
We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward.
Why is it so important to make two-way contact? Well, if they're dealing with the person who made that ransom demand, what they're going to need is a proof of life.
But first, we have to know that you have our mom.
We live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her.
So in the age of AI and deep fakes, how do you know a proof of life is really proof?
There is none.
How do you know it's real? Ideally, the family would be able to get to talk to their mom over some kind of digital connection, to be able to ask her questions and get answers in a spontaneous conversation, elicit information that only she would know. That would be proof of life. Now, it may be a tall ask from a kidnapper, but anyone sophisticated enough to set up a hidden email address or encrypted channels to receive cryptocurrency presumably would have the capability to use tools to set up a digital communications portal where they could have that conversation. In the meantime, not only is the family asking to talk to the kidnapper and to talk to their mom, but they're also asking the kidnapper to talk to their mom, to learn that she's not just a commodity, someone with a price tag, but that she is a real person and someone who deserves better than this.
Our mom is a kind, faithful, loyal, fierce.
Crazy. And they're saying too that the sheriff, apparently he had broken down in tears, I guess, talking about it. He's done a lot of interviews. This was supposed to be a video over here. Let me refresh it. I don't know if they took it down. They had like a small clip of him kind of breaking down. Oh, they updated it. Let's see. Pam Bondi spoke on the case, apparently, said weighed in on Nancy Guthrie case at press conference Friday morning. Oh, okay. We're doing everything to assist the locals, and we're working with the locals. Breaks my heart. I've known Savannah for over 30 years. AI complicates Guthrie family request of proof of life. Experts warn that artificial intelligence, deepfake voices or videos will make it difficult for police to verify any communication with Nancy Guthrie's captors. Damn. Hold on 1 second here. Let me just get this pulled up. There was a Court TV thing that was about to go. Oh, wow. Gotta get that later. Okay. That we're about to go premiere something. I was just wondering if it was interesting. Update. Let's check out this channel here for a second.
Helicopter or another DPS officer involved shooting yesterday. You know, where does it end? But with this case, there's so many moving parts and different stories about what evidence is available or not available. It's hard to tell exactly what's happening. I'll give you an example why. So, with a lot of these disappearances and kidnappings, 80 or 90% of the time, it's an inside job. It's somebody who is related to the person who's being kidnapped in some way, shape, or form. But what makes me kind of pause on that is that the police have said that there was forced entry into the home. And what that means is, you would expect that if somebody had a key, they would have used it. They wouldn't have to force their way into the home. Also, if Nancy knew the kidnappers, why would they need to exert force to the extent where there's her blood everywhere around the front porch area, at least, of the house?
Yeah.
So, that tells me that maybe this isn't an inside job. Now, let's look at the Bitcoin stuff, because this is a little odd as well. So with the Bitcoin stuff, it appears on face value that, Bitcoin is the way that you want to receive ransoms because it's untraceable. But that's not necessarily true. Cash is untraceable.
You're right.
But Bitcoin, all it does is it protects the handoff of the money. What I mean by that is the FBI can actually trace the Bitcoin from one wallet to another wallet. And they can monitor that wallet forever. And whenever that wallet spends money, or the Bitcoin, to another wallet, they can trace it. They can see exactly what date and time it came from. And if that money is ever spent on a wallet that's publicly known, they'll be able to see who it was.
Does that tell you that maybe it's, I don't want to use the word amateurs, but when you think about it, they didn't think it all through.
It don't seem that amateur to get away with it that many days.
Theories when you don't hear a lot from the authorities, and the FBI says, hey, we don't have a lot to offer you just yet. There's all these theories that are thrown out. And one of them was, that it was somebody that, like a pool guy or a yard guy or somebody that, like you mentioned, was an inside job.
Got about 30 seconds left on that, Josh.
Yeah, it's hard to say. This kind of reminds me of the Brian Kohberger case.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, he's the one that killed and murdered the 4 Idaho students. One of the victims was from Arizona. And in that case, law enforcement was also very tight-lipped about what was going on because they didn't want to reveal the intimate information yet where the defendant could destroy the evidence. And I'm thinking that there's a lot that law enforcement knows that they're not telling us.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you can stick around now, we're also in standby mode. Let me just punch this up. We believe this news conference is about to be getting underway from the Department of Public Safety after that just heartbreaking story. Look, we've got our photographers out there now. We're kind of zooming in, getting ready for that. We think that's 3 or 4 minutes away, but it may still be a while. So, Josh, if you've got time, can you stick around?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Thank
we'll
you,
be right
Josh.
back.
Okay. That's kind of interesting. There's a helicopter thing. I think later we're going to try to update that, the crazy helicopter crash that happened. They were responding to a scene in Arizona. It was and there was shooting going on. The suspect was shooting, I believe, at cops. And the helicopter went down. I don't know if the suspect shot at the helicopter. They said the helicopter was trying to help out. I don't know what happened. Go ahead and start it, okay. See this TMZ. We're just going to listen to this.
I looked at this alleged ransom note 20 times last night, and there was something that piqued my interest from the beginning. And I believe now that there is a way of connecting the dots, and that law enforcement has an area that they are most interested in terms of where Nancy might be, if this letter is legit. And I say it for this reason.
Oh, he's still watching it.
Obviously, the person who took Nancy, if this is the person who wrote this ransom letter, they're demanding money. And if they get the money, they're saying they will return her. That's obvious, right? Well, in the letter, it says they would return her back to Tucson. So they also give a time frame of how long it would take after they receive the money to return her to Tucson.
Oh, wow.
So there's a time frame. Now, if you look at the time frame, then you say, well, you can draw a circle around Tucson to see how long maximum it would take to get her back there. And they're not going to fly her back, because the last thing they're going to do is go to an airport where Nancy Guthrie shows ID. That's not going to happen. So clearly it would be driving. And they're not going to drive at 100 miles an hour because if they get stopped for speeding, it's over. So they're going to go around the speed limit. So let's say that if this letter is legit, they would travel at about 60 miles an hour. So based on this time frame in the letter and the fact that she would be returned back to Tucson, here's the way it looks. This is Tucson right here. If you look at this red circle, that is the radius of the maximum amount of time it would take to get her back to Tucson, all around this circle. It incorporates California, Nevada, Utah, Idaho.
Oh, he's talking about all the possible locations. This is kind of an interesting video, though, that he's talking about here.
That is this Nancy Guthrie show what it would take to get her back there. And they're not going to fly her back, because the last thing they're going to do is go to an airport where Nancy Guthrie shows ID. That's not going to happen. So clearly it would be driving. And they're not going to drive at 100 miles an hour because if they get stopped for speeding, it's over. So they're going to go around the speed limit. So let's say it's over. That if this letter is legit, they would travel at about 60 miles an hour. So based on this time frame in the letter and the fact that she would be returned back to Tucson, here's the way it looks. If you look, this is Tucson right here. If you look at this red circle, that is the radius of the maximum amount of time it would take to get her back to Tucson, all around this circle. It incorporates California, Nevada, Utah, Idaho. It incorporates Colorado, Wyoming, a little bit of Kansas, and a little bit of Oklahoma. Now that's a big area for sure, but it is not the full United States. It's not the world. At least it's a defined area. And again, if the letter is legitimate, then it would seem, based on the amount of time maximum it would take to bring her back to Tucson, it's this area that I would think authorities are most interested in. And remember, they are looking for anybody who possibly has information on the whereabouts of Nancy Guthrie. So there's a $50,000 reward for information leading to her return. So I would think that this area is particularly interesting to them. I want to say a couple of other things. The letter, people have been asking, does it seem like it's written by just a crazy person? And the answer is no. This letter was very well constructed. It had structure. It had a beginning, middle, and end. It was well done. I mean, if you took this letter to an English teacher and said, give me notes on structure, on grammar, you probably would get no notes back. It's done by somebody, I believe, who is educated and really spent time. This was not something that took 5 minutes to write. This was a well-constructed letter. Final thing I want to say, and now this is opinion, that it is interesting to me that we got this ransom letter, but also the other two media outlets that got the ransom letters were both located in Tucson. They were television stations in Tucson. So why would somebody who wrote a letter like this know about the local stations and send to the local stations if they have no connection to Tucson? It feels like there is a connection to Tucson with the person who wrote this letter. And, you know, a lot of people are saying, well, it happened because Savannah Guthrie is rich and famous, which she is. But is it that somebody looked at Savannah Guthrie and said, let's find a relative? Or is it somebody who lives in the Tucson area and either knows Nancy Guthrie or knows of her and knows her famous daughter is Savannah Guthrie, and it hatches from that? It seems to me, just based on where the letter went, that it's the latter. So the bottom line here.
That's interesting. And I don't know if you guys heard about this too, about this. This was the other day that the line was being inundated with calls, apparently. The sheriff had to make a post, the sheriff's office, overwhelmed with influx of messages. We appreciate the community support. People calling to express their condolences have overwhelmed the communication staff. They're calling the police station to give condolences. We respectfully ask that these messages be shared on social media, not through the PCSD non-emergency phone line. Calls expressing condolences have overwhelmed our communication staff. It's pretty wild. A neighbor who saw something reports tip, apparently, is what they're saying. She would not elaborate, but said she saw something and wanted to report it. What did you see? How can you not elaborate? What the? I saw something. I'm outside of the Nancy Guthrie's home at the moment. These show the exterior lights visible from the street. I also see what could be cameras. Mention the floodlight. The floodlight, yeah, it looks like a floodlight. Doesn't seem damaged, but it's reportedly mentioned. Repost because link broke. Fox News flight team has also spotted additional lights you can't see from the street from above. Okay. No press conference today either, unless something breaking happens. This was also interesting too, in case you missed it. We're going to try to touch on everything that we can. And so, neighbors spotted suspicious van leading up to Nancy Guthrie's abduction. Nancy Guthrie's neighbor, Brett McIntyre, told the New York Post that he reported spotting a suspicious white van parked on their street in the days before Nancy was taken. It was somewhere on the street. It was a white van, full size, with no printing on the sides. It was parked on the street. Normally, people that are coming to work on your home will have a company vehicle, or if they're independent, something written on it. Now, apparently, I believe it was News Nation sat down. I think this is the neighbor that they're talking about. They got him. Neighbor, this is somebody else though. Another neighbor, Tom Pugh, joins Elizabeth. Okay, let's see what this is.
Just got to get your reaction, Tom. How is everybody dealing with this, having this massive investigation, this terrible event happening?
Well, people could not be more upset, more surprised, more disturbed. And our organization, was immediately in touch with our constituents with an email blast asking them to cooperate and help get started on the Ring camera search and actually to keep an eye out. People up here walk a lot in this neighborhood, and so everybody, I believe, has been totally aware of this and kept their eyes out.
Yeah, the neighbors, man, they got to know. You got to talk to the neighbors. This guy said he saw a mysterious van. And there was an interesting post, too, that I saw posted by Chillingham yesterday, Chillinois. And there was a whole discussion going on because I think it was that same neighbor that spotted the van. He had said, let me pull it up here. Here it is. Oh no! Whoa! What are you doing? Right here. So he had said that he doesn't have security cameras over there. No cameras. He saw the van. He and his wife are now considering getting a security gate despite saying their neighborhood is very safe. And I was saying crazy the wealthy and affluent people don't have a basic alarm system. And she said, well, at least they have a metal door. But somebody replied with an interesting comment that makes kind of sense. Where, let me see, this person here. Honestly, I looked at the neighborhood and my first reaction was, I bet all their keys are in their cars and their side garage doors are unlocked. They have 0 cameras and none of them have protective dogs. I grew up in a neighborhood like that. My parents live in one now. You know, I think some people just get kind of complacent. You live in a really nice neighborhood. Some people are just very comfortable. And so they leave their doors open, doors unlocked, keys everywhere, you know, whatever. Probably go to sleep with the doors unlocked. Maybe it's that kind of neighborhood. They don't live in the real world. Mel, I sleep with 2 guns. Another strategically placed around my house. That's what I need to work on too. Strategically placed around throughout the house. Because you never know and you got to react quick. And the thing with the doorbell too, there's so much information in this article. Let's just jump to the doorbell though first. Let's jump to the doorbell thing and then we'll get back to this. Doorbell camera was disconnected. And so the doorbell, and this is the title of the live stream and part of the topic. Nancy Guthrie doorbell camera was disconnected as part of a sinister test. This is this NBC reporter's thought. Because of the time gap. Okay, Nancy Guthrie's kidnapper disconnected her doorbell camera to test if it would prompt a response from police. Crime expert has suggested. Guthrie's doorbell was disconnected at 1:47 Sunday a.m. And he calls it a critical moment. Software data recorded movement in the home at 2:12 a.m., which police acknowledge could have come from a person or an animal. I don't know if she had any animals in the house, but given the timing of everything, I'm going to assume it was a person. An animal didn't kidnap her and take her. But she didn't have an active subscription with the doorbell app, so the company was unable to recover any footage. And that was crazy to me because I understand if you don't pay your subscription or whatever. I'm assuming she had a Ring camera. But if you don't pay, I thought at the very minimum you could see the last thing. The last thing that happened, you know, the last capture, the last whatever. I guess not. I guess some subscriptions are different. I have 2 different camera services. I have multiple cameras, but I have 2 different camera services. And one of them, I was just testing out for fun because I kind of like that kind of stuff, like gadgets or whatever. One of them, it'll send you a screenshot. Until you subscribe, it sends you like a screenshot. Like, look at this here. It sends you like a screen until you get their service. Or you could get a SD card or whatever if you wanted to with this particular company, and you could put it inside. You know, you can put it inside or whatever. But if you don't get the subscription service, there's nothing. I guess it doesn't record anything. Like I said, all it does is send you one screenshot. That's all you can get. So I had to get the package, the cloud service with it. But I thought those Amazon doorbells, I thought they were capturing something. Like at least, even if you don't pay the subscription, I thought the last thing, or for emergency purposes, the last 2-3 videos, even if it's just captured and they keep it on the, you know. So that's a big deal. Recover nothing from the camera. And then we have this 25-minute gap. Okay. And then at 2:28, then the pacemaker was disconnected. I'll put 25 minutes. It's actually 20. My bad. From 147 to 212, I believe is 25 minutes. Was it 212 that I did? Yeah, from somebody coming up. So the thing is, what was that person doing outside? And then from 212 to 220, there's another 20 minutes. What's up with the 20-minute time gap, he says. So from the time there was movement inside the house to the time the app disconnected from her phone. The camera gets ripped off of the doorbell, but then there's motion on the camera, 20 minutes later. What was that about? But yeah, there's also a time gap after the motion in the house and the watch too. What was going on between those times? I think it's possible or plausible that this guy, let's say they took the camera and waited to see if police arrived. That's what I was thinking too. I think it's very plausible. They were kind of testing it out, testing the waters to see, if anybody was alerted, if anybody would wake up. Some of those cameras too, they're like so delayed. Somebody could run past your camera. Your camera might not even capture it, or it might just capture like a blurry. Oh, it was Nest cameras. Okay. It might capture like a blurry thing. I have a Nest camera too in the front. I don't really like it. I like the other cheap camera that I bought from some Chinese company. It's actually way better than the Nest camera, and it has a wider view. I can see a lot, way more, better quality than the Nest crap that I got in the front. The camera in the back is actually pretty good, the Nest camera in the back, but let me see. And perhaps was thinking the coast was clear, goes back into the house. We don't know, he continued, we don't know the specifics of what the camera detected. The motion either. So 147, let me just put this on the screen too. Let's see what you guys are looking at. Okay. 1:47 a.m. Doorbell camera disconnects. The front doorbell likely ring. Well, they said it was a Nest. So Nest disconnected, removed. An empty mount frame was found later. The thing about that Nest camera too. Google, you got to hardwire the cam for them to work for. Oh, that's the problem, then Pitts, because my back camera is hardwired. The front one with the Nest, they couldn't. For some reason, the guy said he couldn't hardwire it. So the front camera has a battery, but the other camera I bought is hardwired to see the front. And so the battery one, the quality just sucks. I wish it would have hardwired it. So, from 1:47 to 2:12, that's where the motions detected in the house is a 25-minute gap. So what was he doing out? Yeah, like outside, I guess outside he would have to be waiting, I guess, to see if the cops come, if anybody woke up, if anybody was alerted, was anything triggered. And then at 2:12 a.m., motions detected on the camera software. Some wild ass shit. Nothing records. It's just cameras in the house recording nothing because the subscription wasn't paid. That's crazy. Motion described as a person on camera, apparently. Sheriff noted that it could be an animal or person, but we know it was a person. No footage exists due to the active subscription. The system overwrites data without cloud storage, so it just keeps overwriting it. Wow. And then the pacemaker disconnects at 2:28 a.m. Stopped syncing with the Bluetooth from the phone app. Her phone was left at home. Somebody else was like, oh, why can't they track the phone? Blah, blah, blah. All her stuff was left at the house. They need to start putting GPS in these pacemakers. And so it would have taken from 2:12 to 2:28 when the motion's detected and then the pacemaker is disconnected. That's 16 minutes. So the possible execution phase, which is entry and removal of Nancy. They stood outside longer in the house. No, they stood outside longer than they were inside of the house to take her out and extract her. They were worried about the cops coming, I guess. This could have been a whole different story if the cameras were connected to subscription service. And you got to wonder, well, I guess, did those people know about the subscription not being paid? I want to show you guys something too, because that camera, the way they got it off too, let me see the picture here. I don't think that camera just comes off if you tug at it. You see this right here? This like little thing here. I don't think that just comes, if you just yank at the shit, it doesn't come off like that. Hold on a second. I think I have the same camera as her. Hold on, I'm going to take a picture too to show you guys. All right, I'm going to show you guys. It's the same exact, same camera. Let me see if it'll load up on my computer. If not, I'll just show you on my phone. Photos. Okay. See this right here? This is the camera housing, like the attached to the wall. It's the same shit. See how I can show you guys. There you go. How about that? The same thing there. Now, if you go to tug on this shit, like I try to tug on it just now. I try to tug on it, it will not come off. If if you go to, I'm helping criminals probably, but this is it's such a, everybody knows, anybody has this camera, you know. If I were to go tug on this shit, I think either this wall part would come off or that camera's gonna break off. Either one. Maybe the camera, maybe the housing part would break off. And then to get the camera off of it, there's like a little key. Go full screen. There's a key at the top. There's a key that you have to use. You slide into the top of this camera here, Let's see the back. The back. From top to bottom. Or maybe I shouldn't show the barcode. Maybe not the barcode, but you see? That's the back of it. Charging device. It has like a metallic thing here that hooks in. And it also has this top part that hooks in. And then you have to slide the key through the top. I mean, it's possible the guy could have yanked it off. I would love to test what would happen if I yanked it off my ship, but then I'd break it. Because I'm kind of curious if you ran up and yanked this camera off, unless they walked up and they knew the type of camera they were dealing with and they had the key already. If they've been staking out this place, they already know what kind of camera she has. You can tell them apart, from the Ring doorbells to the Google Nest ones and whatever. You just go get the key. He could have simply walked up or came around the side and just, used the little key thing and took it off quietly and then just waited. I wonder if there's any kind of alarm. If you rip this shit off, does any alarm go off? That's probably too much, right? Let me see. Nest, doorbell. No, Google Nest, whether a wired or battery version, does not automatically send a specific tamper or remove from wall. Always on, critical alerts can't be turned off. So when the camera / doorbell goes offline, loses Wi-Fi power. If the device is removed from the app, tampering detection in some cases, but it's limited. Ring doorbells apparently have better tamper alerts in some models. Nest system relies on offline notifications and general tamper. That's stupid. Stupid. So, but they if they were tracking her. Sports Stooge. Do you have to take off the camera to charge it? Yeah, you do. You have to take it off to charge it occasionally. Type-C charger. And it takes probably like 2 or 3 hours. I hate this crap to charge it. That's why I got another camera. I have another camera hardwired that's inside of the house so that you're not going to tamper with it from the outside. You're going to have to break in to tamper with the camera that's inside looking outside. And so I have another one there that has better coverage and a wider lens. And you can see more. I think you should have more than just a Ring camera because it's so easy to, if somebody wanted to, tamper with your shit. I mean, this camera thing is just it's so crazy. But, I used to know, I think there's a lot of businesses. I think there's businesses too that have cameras that don't even work. That's just not even recording. It's just for aesthetics. To give the representation that you have some type of alarm and you don't. There's people that just have alarm stickers on their windows on the front of the house and they don't even have an alarm in the house. I think the CVS that I used to work at for a long time, they had cameras that were not working. And they would just make the call outs, check, blah, 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 aisle, blah, blah, blah. And the shit wasn't even working. It was just like a scare tactic. Brandon, thank you for the 5. Says, I install security cameras as a licensed contractor. And I can tell you that if you put a flathead, if you put a flathead screwdriver in the slot, it will pop off. No alarm. Well, there you go. That makes sense. I mean, the alarm, it's not going to save you, I guess, if somebody's breaking into the house, but at least it'll alert somebody, maybe call the cops. At least there'll be evidence if something happens to you. And then some people were saying, too, why wasn't the subscription paid? I don't know. People are talking about why wasn't the subscription paid? A wealthy, well-to-do family. I don't know if it was just the whole... Oh, and there was a post, too, that she had made a post. I wonder if I could find it. I forgot who posted it on X. Supposedly Nancy had posted like in November 2025 that she was looking for a camera. That anybody recommend a camera? me see. They literally sell ghost cameras. Was that a fake camera or something? Just have a bunch of them outside of your house. There was a post. I don't know if I'll be able to find it now. I don't want to waste too much time. Oh, here it is. Found it. Boom. Look at this. Look at this. Nancy Guthrie sought help from others on the Nextdoor app for camera advice, saying she was interested in seeing animal activity at night. Okay. According to a screenshot from a message she posted. Oh, she posted in 2021. Okay, I thought it was 2025. That is crazy, man. So yeah, the subscription wasn't paid. People are wondering about that. You know, why? The other thing people are wondering too is like, why did she take a 10-minute drive to go to the sister's house? Like, not a drive, but an Uber. She had to take an Uber. Nancy travels to local family's home, and so they said that the sister and the son-in-law lived 10 minutes away from her house. And so I saw a lot of criticism. People are saying, you know, why she had to take an Uber. Why couldn't they just come pick her up? I don't know. Maybe they were busy. Maybe something was going on. They couldn't pick her up, but they could drop her off 10 minutes away. You know. Now there is something too that's kind of the Ashley Banfield debacle. Where's it at? I have the article somewhere. Ashley Banfield. Is it this one here? Oh man. So she was kind of catching some heat too because, you know, the chief is kind of countering everything that she's been saying, the information that she's put out. Now, she had, to her credit, I think, or with Brian Enton, I know he was accurate. They were at one point, I forgot what story it was. It might have been Koberger, where he had put out some information, and they were saying that the sheriff had said, like, oh, it's incorrect. That's not true. I don't know where he's getting that from. I don't know how long it was, a week after, 2 weeks, a month later, they were like, oh, it's actually true. You know, so I don't know if she's incorrect or her sources are incorrect, or the cops just don't want to put out certain information. Ashley Banfield standing by her claim that Savannah, the brother-in-law, may be the prime suspect. Now, they're saying he was the last one to see the mother, Nancy. I mean, it's kind of changed a couple of times because I had heard that Annie, the sister, and the husband, Savannah's brother-in-law, dropped off Mama. But then I've read it was just him by himself. I don't know which one it is. I don't know how many times it's changed. But over here, you know, maybe the prime suspect, even after local Arizona sheriff on the case said there's 0 suspects, calling the reporting reckless. Oh, I didn't know he called it reckless. Oh, shit. Ashley! Banfield told the Status newsletter on Thursday that she is sticking to her reporting, which cited just one unnamed law enforcement officer and aired on her podcast, despite repeated public denials from the Pima County Sheriff. While he declined to rule anyone out as a standard investigative posture, he warned that naming a suspect without evidence could damage both the case and innocent people. Nobody's eliminated. The only thing, because a friend of mine was asking me, like, oh, can she get sued? I don't know. I mean, maybe when the story is all said and done, I still don't know, because she could put it on her source. If she really has a source, I don't think she would make that up. Could the source be wrong? That's possible. I don't know. Banfield's producer told The Hollywood Reporter that she stands by her reporting and her ironclad source. Okay. Even as the sheriff reiterated there's no evidence tying the brother-in-law. Banfield claims were briefly promoted on News Nation in a digital story that was later updated with an editor's note that included the sheriff's, updated later, you see, with the sheriff's note comments after an inquiry. The News Nation story was initially posted contained the sheriff's denial and Banfield's claims. Banfield, the former News Nation anchor, has also appeared on platforms like Megyn Kelly and Inside Edition. Okay. And over here in her thumbnail, see, I'm very sometimes particular, even if you don't know. I'm very particular when I'm titling my stuff and I'm doing thumbnails. And so, well, I guess she put it in quotes. She put it in quotes. Maybe that's something to try to protect herself, because they could say libel, even in writing, titles, words, letters. But she put it in quotes, so she could say, well, that's what he told me. I mean, that's probably why she worded it like that. And he also denied, I guess, the cameras and stuff being bashed all over the place. Law enforcement has said that the investigative steps cited by Banfield, including the towing of a family vehicle, were routine procedures, not indicators of suspicion. I still think it's a little weird, the family vehicle being towed. I mean, I guess you could say that, well, you're the last ones to see her and you drove her in the vehicle, so we're going to check the vehicle. Crazy. Reckless. All right, let's keep moving. Let's see if they got... Oh, by the way, yeah, I wanted to touch on this real quick because a lot of people were posting on X that Kash Patel is on his way to Tucson, but it's actually on his way for an unrelated case. So I was like, oh. But he might be briefed on the case. He does have a scheduled trip to Tucson that was pre-scheduled before this, but he's receiving consistent and constant updates from the team. So I don't know if he's actually going to be directly involved like that, you know? And Bondi. Let's see if we got new information here. Notre Dame offers prayers. AG $50,000 reward. Sheriff said he won't hold another press conference until there's major news. What's that up? TMZ boss says Nancy could still be in Tucson. We showed the video. He was talking about the radius. Very specific and well organized. He was on Hannity's show. I think I bookmarked that. Where is it at? Oh, this is a clip here?
I will say the letter is really written by the person who asked Nancy. But I will say the letter begins by saying she is safe but scared. And they go on to say she knows exactly what the demand is. And so they are, through us telling the family, and obviously the sheriff's department gave the family the letter we received, exactly what they're demanding, and they're saying that Nancy is aware of it. They are also saying, Sean, and I find this, pretty interesting when you look at what happened today. They're saying that this will be their only communication, and they are done communicating, negotiating. Here's the deal, and that's it. And as the clock ticks, I think that's one of the reasons the FBI and other authorities have, gotten desperate here, because as far as we can tell, it's impossible to trace the origin of this email. And I will say,
he is mentioned on the list,
that there are real reasons based on what's written there that I believe that this person is in the radius of the Tucson area.
Special Agent Michael Easter discusses new development. Let's see what he had to say.
Looks like investigators, according to Harvey Levin, the FBI tech team has been there. The sheriff really is concerned about it. And they really think this person may be responsible as of now.
Right. And you have to move forward with that. I would agree with that objective because you can't discount it until you've absolutely proven it's not credible. I would say the challenges that we face in this type of, world where our lives are online is that I have worked cases where individuals knew very intimate things, not only about the victim, but the family and inside the residence from things they gathered from social media, talking to other family members. And even I've had a case where they got photos that they doctored from realtor.com that make it look like they were inside the residence.
True.
It looks like investigators.
No way of communication. That's the problem. That's the problem they're having. There's no way to communicate with these people.
The brother Cameron didn't speak much in that first video, so it's certainly something to hear him now. They know time is
maybe he said we love you.
It's not on their side here, and this takes it up a notch of something so intensely serious and grave already.
Yeah, Laura, and what he's doing very clearly is re-emphasizing the message that was delivered yesterday in that first video, which was, if in fact that ransom note that came in by email that we've all heard about that went to TMZ and some of the local outlets, not the one for which somebody was arrested today. That was just a tag-along of somebody who was trying to make a score. But the one that the FBI is pulling at and the task force is working, that did not include any protocols to communicate with the kidnappers. And so if you're sitting where the family is, you're saying to yourself, even if we want to pay, and I think that's the subtext here, there's no way to set up an exchange so that they know they can get their mother back, which of course is part and parcel of any kidnapping. And you see this in the ransomware world. There's special protocols to set up that you can speak so that the perps don't reveal who they are and where they are. These people have not done that, and I think it undermines the potential genuineness of this ransom note that came in by email.
Looking at the blood pattern that we see, Jeffrey Gentry, that gives me hope that she is alive, because you don't have the other things that I mentioned, Jeffrey.
So when I look at this blood, of course, any blood at a crime scene is always concerning. I mean, you should take all precautions if you find blood at a crime scene. It is a tremendous amount of evidence that's in the blood. Not only can it tell you events that happened, but then, of course, you have the possibility to get DNA. But when I look at these blood patterns, I'm not overly concerned. So you're exactly right. These are passive blood drops. They are drip stains, a little bit of a drip trail, and then there's a blood into blood pattern. A blood into blood pattern is when blood is dripping from height into a blood source, and it creates that neat little pattern of drip stains with the little satellite spatter around it. So this would indicate, one, that this is not a major injury. Somebody of that age can get skin tears very easily in their arms, on their hands, and those are going to bleed quite a bit. But it also indicates that this person is upright. They are stationary for some period of time, but then there's also movement as well with the drip trail. So nothing that I'm seeing would indicate that, one, this person has a traumatic injury like a gunshot wound or a stab wound, like projected blood patterns. You mentioned cast off from a weapon. You don't see impact spatter. These are all large volume stains that are going straight down, indicating that that person was either walking or stationary, but they're upright.
There's blood, but it's not a whole bunch of blood. Yeah. Let me see, because this is from last night. Let me see. I just saw a new post.
Let's take a listen right now to this video that Cameron Guthrie just put out. This is the brother of Savannah Guthrie, the son of Nancy Guthrie. Watch.
This is Cameron Guthrie. I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
Sheriff, this is something Cameron is saying that Savannah said last night, we need to know you have our mother and we need to know she's alive. And Savannah took great care to note that in today's AI world, it can be difficult to ascertain that. Nancy Guthrie was on the Today Show many times. We know that there is technology. You could get her voice from those appearances on television and make a completely fake audio tape of Nancy talking.
I understand that, and that's why, again, we refer this to the FBI. They have a team trained in handling and dealing with these matters. They are working with the Guthries as a consult, but like Special Agent Yankee said, the decision, any decision made on this will be from the family. We'll support whatever decision that is.
Guthrie family. Crazy, man. Crazy all this time. Day 6. Hold up. Now we're blaming the healthcare nurse for Nancy. I agree that pacemakers have the capability to transmit to the patient's provider, but we haven't heard of a home care nurse. And there are billboards being put up. Meanwhile, billboards are being put up, rewards are being jacked up, and the sheriff is saying no suspects while the family pleads to the phantom kidnapper. What? It's true.
Number 2 is a pacemaker in modern times does in fact transmit information to the clinician or her doctors. That information also would be very helpful and useful to the FBI. I think the FBI has a lot more information. I think they're circling in with respect to a home care attendant or someone who looked after her or who dropped in to watch her. This is a targeted attack, and attendant or someone who FBI has a lot more information. I think they're circling in with respect to a home care attendant or someone who looked after her or who dropped in to watch her. This is a targeted attack, and again, I think this is kind of like a cat and mouse type of scenario where the FBI is trying to flush this individual or these individuals out. I wonder, number 2 is a pacemaker in modern times.
I don't know, man. I feel like everybody's just looking for answers. And
we just got that timeline. So much is being made of, is one of the family a suspect? And we heard the sheriff today state, we don't have a suspect, we don't have a person of interest, yet everyone is under suspicion. That's what they always say, everybody is under suspicion. But what would it take, Bethany Marshall, for family members to sit with her that evening, be with her, and pretend nothing was going to happen, all the while plotting and planning her kidnapping, faking it? Did you see Savannah Guthrie, Sister Annie, and Brother Cameron? They did not look like any of them were faking it. I know Savannah, she's not faking it. I get a deluge of people online suggesting she is somehow part of this. That's just ridiculous.
That's what some people say.
No, that did not happen. But look at their demeanors, Dr. Bethany. Let's just clear that up right now.
Nancy's children are not responsible for this. They are not. I mean, I look at their demeanor, they're distraught, they're concerned. This is their mother. We don't have any history to suggest that they had an antagonistic relationship with their mother. She was invited into the home on a Saturday night to play games and hang out with the family. This is a beloved mother and grandmother. Now, what we don't know, and I keep waiting for this, is we don't know about caregivers, gardeners, people who are coming in and out of her life, bankers, financial people. There's somebody in her inner circle, somebody she confides in, maybe outside of the sibling group of her children, who might know something about somebody who is pestering her, bothering her, somebody she has a suspicion about. And that's what I'm really, really so curious about. And none of that has come out so far.
Yeah, the whole thing is strange, man. Jeez. And then she has that medication that she needs and supposed to take. Let's see if they have anything over here with updates.
Buy a house. I mean,
yeah. So
I think as the deadline comes up, they're gonna have to pay, right?
All of their accounts and just make sure they have beneficiaries on them. Your retirement account, make sure you have the right beneficiary. Your bank account, make sure you have transfer on death language is what it's called. Make sure you have the right beneficiary. Review it often.
All right, I guess maybe that's it for updates. Just doing the last search. We'll let it come on and make sure we just hit all the points that we can and keep following the case. Stay up to date. All right, guys. Yeah, I think we're good. Let me just check. Let me check another place too, real quick. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to me. Make sure you turn on all notifications. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Perez Hilton. Oh no, girl. What happened?
So happy to hear that an arrest was made in connection with the abduction of Savannah Guthrie's mother. And then I found out the details. Hello, my friend. It is Perez, the queen of all media, the original influencer. And yes, an arrest has been made in connection with the abduction of Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old. But the person arrested is not a suspect. Instead, the major fill in the blank is someone arrested for sending a
arrest has been made. Oh my God. Everybody's thinking like the suspect is caught and stuff for the kidnapping.
False ransom note. And I do have more info. Stay tuned for that. But back to this D word. During a news conference today, FBI Special Agent Heath Janke revealed that they have arrested one person in connection with an imposter ransom demand.
Oh no, honey.
We learned that TMZ was not the only media outlet to get ransom letters. Other national and local outlets in Tucson, Arizona, where Nancy Guthrie lived, were also sent ransom notes. TMZ is just the only one that shared that publicly. I was not the only one watching the press conference just a little bit ago. So was Donald Trump. And I'm going to praise him again.
Oh, shit.
I think it's wonderful that Melania's husband agreed to give as many resources as needed to Savannah and her family in trying to bring back their mother. And Caroline Leavitt, the Trump press secretary, reiterated that Donald called Savannah yesterday and told her that the federal government is here to help. Any requests that are made by state and local officials in the search of Miss Guthrie will absolutely be accommodated, adding that our hearts and our prayers are with Savannah and her entire family as they search for her dear mother. The FBI also announced that they are increasing the reward for any information that could lead to the return of Nancy Guthrie.
All right. Oh yeah, I think that was a good stream. We covered a lot. So yeah, I appreciate you guys coming through. I will be around today if anything else pops off. Of course, if anything with Nancy pops off too. Rumble, I'm sorry. I guess one of the settings was wrong. It didn't work out. So I'll switch it back after this live. I might do a premium later. So I might do a premium after or a little bit later. I gotta pick up Maddie, but just to hang out for a while, make it up. All right. So I appreciate you guys. I'll catch you later. Be safe. Bye. Bloop, bloop.